A lot of people are asking, where's the chicken?
The chicken sandwich could be rolled out as early as today.
Daniel, I saw you eating your chicken just a minute ago right here at your car. How was it?
Health inspectors recently found multigenerational cockroaches crawling toward the soft serve machine. Dead flies in the ice cream mix. Rotten chicken allegedly delivered from a residential garage in an unmarked car. And one chain scored 46 out of 100 on a health inspection and kept its doors open anyway. By the end of this video, you will know the 8 chicken chains to avoid, the 4 you can actually trust, and exactly what separates them. Let us get into it, starting with the unsafe 8. Number 8. Sonic Drive-In. Sonic built its entire identity on nostalgia. Retro car hops, cherry limeades, happy memories from simpler times. So it is genuinely sad to look at what health inspectors have been finding in those kitchens. In August of 2025, officials in Las Vegas shut down a Sonic on North Nellis Boulevard. The reason? Multi-generational cockroaches. That is the technical term inspectors use when they find roaches at every stage of the life cycle simultaneously, meaning nymphs, juveniles, and fully grown adults all coexisting inside the restaurant. They found live roaches behind the ice machine, one underneath the toppings table, and another crawling directly toward the soft serve machine. Let that last one sit for a moment. A roach, heading straight for the machine, making your dessert. The Las Vegas location was not alone. In February of 2025, a Sonic in Commerce, Georgia, scored 46 out of 100 on a state health inspection, with rodent droppings in food prep and storage areas and shredded lettuce held at 48 degrees Fahrenheit, 7 degrees above the legal safe ceiling for cold holding. In Coral Springs, Florida, a location was shut down in December of 2024 for 17 separate violations, including dead flies found in the ice cream mix and black and green mold growing inside the ice machine. And on antibiotic use in their meat supply, independent chain reaction reports produced by a coalition including Consumer Reports gave Sonic a flat F grade. No public policy, no commitment, nothing beyond what federal law already requires. None of these were isolated, one-time slip-ups caught on an unlucky afternoon. They were the kind of violations that show up when pest control schedules get skipped, when temperature logs stop getting checked, when corporate decides the marketing budget matters more than the maintenance budget. A drive-in built on the promise of a simpler, more wholesome experience cannot survive very long on rotting nostalgia alone. Sonic lands at number 8 because recurring pest infestations, dangerous food temperatures, and total silence on sourcing is what happens when a brand coasts entirely on nostalgia while quietly failing the people who still show up for it. But the next chain has the longest, most documented history of failure of any major fast food brand in America. Number 7. Burger King. Burger King has the longest, most documented history of health inspection failures of any major fast food chain in America. In an NBC Dateline investigation looking at 100 Burger King locations across 38 states, researchers found 241 total critical violations, the highest number of any chain in the study. A single location in Virginia was cited for 14 separate critical violations in one inspection, including employees not washing their hands and grime coating the ice chute and the drive-through drink machine. More recently, in 2024, Burger King was swept into the Taylor Farms E. coli recall that infected 104 people across 14 states, killing one person in Colorado after slivered onions supplied to McDonald's. Quarter pounders were contaminated. Burger King pulled onions from select locations as a precaution, but the fact that one onion supplier could trigger a multi-chain recall across an entire country speaks to how fragile the industrial supply chain truly is. What makes the Dateline numbers especially damning is the consistency of the pattern across regions. This was not a single rogue franchisee or a single bad inspector having a tough week. 241 critical violations spread across 38 states points to a systemic training and oversight gap that corporate has had decades to address and has not meaningfully closed. On antibiotics, Burger King earned a D grade in the chain reaction report from Consumer Reports and allied consumer organizations. No meaningful policy restricting antibiotic use in their beef supply. For a chain doing billions in annual revenue, a D on something. This basic is a deliberate choice, not an oversight they simply have not gotten around to fixing. Burger King lands at number 7 because the scale of their documented violations combined with a weak antibiotic stance makes them one of the most consistently underperforming chains on this list. This is exactly where I want you to hit the like and subscribe button right now. Every week we investigate the stories behind the brands, and they do not get shorter or cleaner. Subscribe, and you will never miss one nor want to. Why? Because the chain at number 6 has the most secretive supply chain of any chicken chain in America. Number 6. Raising Cane's one menu item. 1 protein. The most secretive supply chain of any chicken chain in America. Raising Cane's sells chicken fingers, full stop. The simplicity feels honest, and the dipping sauce genuinely deserves its devoted following. But the simplicity is also the distraction. Chipotle publishes their sourcing standards. Sweetgreen lists farm names on a chalkboard in-store. Chick-fil-A publishes a written antibiotic policy. Raising Cane's, a chain whose only product is chicken, publishes less about their chicken supply chain than almost any other major fast food brand with over 700 locations nationwide. No named farms, no antibiotic commitment in writing, no sourcing transparency whatsoever. And the kitchen inspections are not reassuring. A New York City location was cited in March of 2024 for food contact surfaces not being properly sanitized. That is the one surface the food touches directly. Nothing catastrophic has gone public yet, but that is exactly the point. They are asking millions of people to deeply love and loyally trust a product while aggressively refusing to answer the most basic question about it. For a chain this large, silence is a deliberate strategy, not humility. Think about how unusual that actually is. Almost every other major chain on this list, good or bad, at least gives you something to evaluate. A grade, a press release, an inspection record, a public commitment they later broke. Raising Cane's gives you none of it. You are simply asked to trust the chicken because the sauce is good, and millions of people do exactly that every single day. The chain at number 5 used to be a beloved Southern institution. Then look at who bought it. Number 5. Church's Texas Chicken. In September of 2025, health inspectors walked into a Church's Texas Chicken in Des Moines, Washington, and issued an immediate, non-negotiable closure. The designation on the paperwork? Imminent health hazard. That phrase means conditions were so fundamentally broken that the public could not legally enter the building. Church's is currently owned by High Bluff Capital Partners, the same private equity firm that also owns Quiznos and the franchisee operating many struggling Hardee's locations. Their acquisition press release was full of language about exciting growth potential and value-oriented market positioning. Not one word about chicken quality, recipe integrity, or customer experience. The inspection record fills in the blanks. A Niagara region location was cited for basic hand-washing failures. Customer reviews from multiple states describe chicken that arrives with dense, industrial grease rather than the satisfying crunch of a properly fried piece of bird. Reviewers describe it as sitting like a rock in the stomach. This is the part private equity press releases never mention. Value-oriented market positioning is a phrase written by people who will never personally eat the chicken they are repositioning. Cost-cutting at the supply level eventually shows up on a customer's plate, and an imminent health hazard closure is what it looks like when the cuts finally reach the kitchen floor. Church's lands at number 5 because the private equity extraction is textbook, and the kitchen conditions are the direct result of what happens when the people at the top stop caring about the food at the bottom. Next up is a brand with a legendary biscuit and a fan base that has stuck with it through several rough years. What was found in their kitchens across 4 different states follows one of the most consistent patterns of failure on this list. Number 4. Bojangles. 17 live roaches, 4 dead ones. Roach droppings accumulated on the shelving underneath the soda station in the lobby. Not the back kitchen, not the storage room. The soda station in the lobby where you stand to fill your cup. That is exactly what state health inspectors found at a Bojangles in Ocala, Florida, in April of 2025. The restaurant failed the inspection. 5 days later, the mandatory re-inspection happened. It failed again. But this is not one bad location. Pull the map, and the same story repeats. A Charlotte, North Carolina. Location earned 2 B grades in July of 2025 for flies in the kitchen and serving undercooked sausage. A location in Adairsville, Georgia, scored 55 out of 100. An inspection in Lexington, South Carolina, was cited with one of the most troubling phrases you can find in a restaurant report. No hand washing between contamination events. 4 different states, same category of failures, everyone. That repetition matters more than any single bad inspection. A roach infestation in one city can be bad luck. Roach infestations, fly sightings, undercooked meat, and explicit hand-washing failures across 4 separate states in the same calendar year is not bad luck. It is a pattern that survived multiple inspectors, multiple cities, and multiple chances to fix itself. Bojangles was taken private in 2019 by investment firms Durational Capital and the Jordan Company. The announcement promised an exciting next chapter that would strengthen operations. 17 live roaches by the soda machine in Ocala is the chapter they wrote. Up next at number 3 is a chain facing allegations so serious that it involves rotten chicken being transported out of a residential garage. And the response from the top of the organization is arguably worse than the allegation itself. Number 3. Popeyes. In 2025, a major poultry supplier filed a lawsuit against Popeyes for $35 million. Lawsuits happen in business, but the details here are extraordinary. According to court filings, the supplier alleged they had specifically warned Popeyes that a rival meat provider was selling rotten and unsafe raw chicken out of residential garages, being delivered in unmarked personal vehicles with no proper refrigeration. The supplier who raised the alarm claims they were then dropped. The rival supplier allegedly peddling the garage chicken kept their contract, and the local kitchen records reinforce the pattern. A Popeyes location in St. Catharines, Ontario, was closed twice in a single month for insect infestation. The fine? $580. For a global chain, generating billions annually, $580 is not a penalty. It is a rounding error in the operating budget. Reviewers who pay attention describe the chicken beneath that famous heavy breading as bland, rubbery, and industrial. The spice is real. The seasoning is genuinely good. But thick breading over low-quality protein is not a recipe. It is a disguise. A $35 million lawsuit is not the kind of number a company settles quietly over a misunderstanding. It is the kind of number that signals both sides know exactly how much money was at stake in choosing the cheaper, allegedly unsafe supplier over the one trying to do things properly. Popeyes lands at number 3 because a $35 million lawsuit alleging garage chicken is not a PR problem. It is a supply chain confession. Everything has been building to the top 2. The founder of our number 2 chain warned everyone publicly about what the corporation did to his food. They kept his face on the packaging and ignored every word he said. Number 2. KFC. Colonel Harlan Sanders spent years perfecting his chicken. The precise second the meat should leave the fryer, the oil temperature, the pressure cooker mechanics, the richness of the gravy. He guarded his 11 herbs and spices like a military secret. When the corporation changed everything he had gotten right, he did not go quietly. He publicly called the new corporate gravy horrible and pure wallpaper paste. He called the new crispy recipe a damn dough ball stuck on some chicken. The man whose face still appears on every single bucket. They kept his image. They threw away his standards. He sold the company in 1964. Those quotes came years later as he watched them dismantle his legacy. KFC is owned by Yum! Brands, the same corporation behind Taco Bell. 2 iconic American brands, one parent company, both consistently ranking at the bottom of their respective quality investigations. In 2014, hidden camera footage from a major KFC supplier in Shanghai captured workers mixing rotting green chicken with fresh product, repackaging expired meat with falsified expiration dates, and picking raw food off a filthy factory floor back onto the processing line. Chinese authorities shut the plant down. KFC severed ties with that specific supplier. The low-bid supply chain model that created those conditions? It did not change. They fixed the headline and kept the system. On December 31st, 2025, a KFC in St. Catharines, Ontario, was shut down by the health department. The official reason: premises maintained in an unsanitary condition. They rang in the new year with a health closure. More than a decade separates the Shanghai footage from the St. Catharines closure, and yet the underlying story is identical. A corporation built on volume and low-bid contracts, reacting to scandal only after cameras or inspectors force its hand, then returning to business as usual the moment the news cycle moves on. The Colonel obsessed over the precise moment the chicken should leave the fryer. Yum. Brands obsesses over the precise moment profit should leave the financial quarter. One of those obsessions feeds you a good meal. The other one feeds distant shareholders. KFC lands at number 2 because the supply chain failures are long-running. The founder condemned what they did to his food, and nothing has fundamentally changed. Which brand has shocked you so far? Leave a comment to tell us, and tag someone who really needs to see this. We go this deep every single week, and the corporate paper trail never gets cleaner. And at number 1 is the chain combining the most consequential public health event, the most broken antibiotic commitments, and the most self-serving response to both. Number 1. McDonald's. You already know the name, and in 2024, you saw the story. McDonald's is the largest beef purchaser in the world. In October of 2024, slivered onions supplied by Taylor Farms and used on McDonald's Quarter Pounders were linked to an E. coli outbreak that infected 104 people across 14 states, killing 1 person in Colorado and hospitalizing 34 others. 4 people developed hemolytic uremic syndrome, a severe kidney-damaging condition. McDonald's pulled Quarter Pounders in affected states and stopped selling them entirely at some locations. Then, they announced a $100 million advertising campaign to win back customer trust. $100 million in marketing. Not in supply chain reform, not in sourcing transparency, in advertising. On antibiotics, McDonald's holds a C grade in multiple chain reaction reports. They committed in 2018 to monitor antibiotic use in their beef supply and set a deadline of 2020 to publish reduction targets. They missed that deadline. The U.S. chicken supply operates without antibiotics important to human medicine, which is meaningful, but beef remains murky and under-enforced. Meanwhile, over 80% of U.S. locations are franchisee-operated, and franchise chains statistically record higher violation rates because brand standards are diluted at the franchise level. A missed 2020 deadline, followed by a $100 million marketing campaign in 2024, tells you exactly where the company's actual priorities sit. Sourcing reform requires years of supply chain renegotiation with no immediate payoff. An advertising campaign requires a press release and a media buy. McDonald's chose the option that protects quarterly earnings over the one that protects public health. McDonald's lands at number 1 not because every location is a disaster, but because the E. coli outbreak, the missed antibiotic commitments, the $100 million marketing pivot, and a franchise structure that manufactures the conditions for repeated failure all add up to the most consequential pattern of food safety shortcomings on this list. They have more resources than any chain here to do better, and they keep choosing not to. Now, a breath of fresh air. The safe 4-8 chains to avoid. 8 large brands facing very concerning accusations. Accusations backed by court filings, federal investigations, and public health department records, not internet rumors. Now, we unveil 4 brands that can earn your trust, not by being perfect, but by doing the work. Number 4. Slim Chickens. Slim Chickens serves hand-breaded tenders with a craggy, uneven coating, the unmistakable sign of a human doing the breading by hand rather than a machine tumbling it into uniformity. The chicken is marinated before cooking. The menu is focused: tenders, wings, sandwiches, and genuine Southern sauces. Over 214 locations across 33 states, started in Fayetteville, Arkansas, still run by the founders. No Yum, brands, no Goldman Sachs, no private equity, just chicken. The honest caveat: they do not publish a formal written antibiotic standard. And in 2023, a Pensacola location generated headlines for nearly 20 dead roaches. But the follow-up inspection the very next day found 0 violations. Compare that to Bojangles, which failed the same roach inspection twice in 5 days at the same location. One chain had a problem and fixed it. The other one has a relationship with the problem. That distinction is really the entire thesis of this list. Bad inspections happen even at well-run restaurants. Kitchens are human places and humans make mistakes. What separates a trustworthy chain from an untrustworthy one is not whether a problem ever occurs. It is what happens the very next day. Slim Chickens lands at number 4 because the founder-operated model keeps the incentives aligned with the food rather than the quarterly earnings call. If you think Slim Chickens is the chain with the strictest sourcing standard on this list, you're in for a surprise. The next brand built its entire reputation on one specific cut of meat and a promise written in permanent ink. Number 3. Huey Magoo's. Every single chicken they serve comes from exactly 2 tenderloins per bird. Not the breast, not the thigh, not reformed scraps pressed into a shape. The tenderloin, which they call the filet mignon of chicken, representing the best 3% of the entire bird. And their commitment is in writing, permanently. No antibiotics ever, no hormones, no steroids, no preservatives. That written guarantee is exactly the kind of promise that other chains have quietly walked away from. 76 locations open, with over 250 more in development. The honest caveat: a 2017 location at the University of Central Florida was a disaster, closed for roaches and black algae in the soda machine. But a Springfield, Missouri location in 2026 posted 0 priority violations. Modern inspections tell a completely different story. Reviewers describe the tenders as cleaner tasting and noticeably less greasy than the mega chains. One wrote, "It tastes like chicken is supposed to taste. I forgot what that was like." Notice what is missing from their story compared to everyone in the unsafe 8. No private equity acquisition, no Wall Street press release about growth potential, no antibiotic policy quietly walked back the moment it became inconvenient. Just a written standard that has held since the company started, and an expansion plan that has not required compromising it. Huey Magoo's lands at number 3 because their sourcing commitment is the new benchmark for what the industry should look like. A written promise looks great on a wall. The next chain on this list didn't write a promise, they got tested for real. The proof is sitting in a place most restaurants would never dare show you. Number 2. Hattie B's Hot Chicken. When a customer reported getting sick after eating at Hattie B's and health inspectors showed up demanding answers, Hattie B's pulled up their digital cook logs. They showed inspectors every temperature, every timestamp, every degree for every piece of chicken served. The data cleared them immediately. No scrambling, no PR statement, no attorney. That is what real food safety accountability looks like, not a glossy poster. A kitchen that can mathematically prove what it did. Hattie B's is family-owned, started in Nashville, and currently operates 16 locations. The Michelin Guide lists them as a recommended Nashville hot chicken destination. Their Chicago expansion across Wrigleyville, River North, and Wicker Park has a flawless inspection record. 0 means 0. Walk in and the kitchen is open. You can see the raw chicken go in and the golden baskets come out. Reviewers describe the skin as intensely crispy, the cayenne heat as building in waves, and the meat underneath as perfectly juicy. A kitchen with nothing to hide builds it that way on purpose. There is no curtain between the fryer and the dining room, because there is nothing happening back there that the owners are afraid to let you see. Hattie B's lands at number 2 because absolute accountability is the differentiator. Ask any mega chain if they maintain digital cook temperature logs. If they dodge the question, you have your answer. You'd think the most accountable kitchen in America would also be the best tasting one. It's not even close. The number 1 chain on this list isn't American at all. Yet, it beat every legacy brand you grew up eating in a blind taste test. Number 1. Jollibee. In a head-to-head national bracket pitting every major fried chicken chain in America against each other, a Filipino chain won. Not KFC, not Popeyes, not Chick-fil-A. Jollibee's Chicken Joy took back-to-back number 1 spots in USA today's Best Fast Food Fried Chicken Reader's Choice Poll and was the champion of Eater's National Fried Chicken Bracket. A chain most Americans have never walked into beat every chain most Americans grew up eating. That sentence alone should end several marketing careers in several corporate boardrooms. Jollibee started in the Philippines in 1978. Their supply chain runs through Cargill, one of the world's largest food companies. The chicken is centrally processed but breaded and pressure-fried fresh inside each store. They are transparent about how it works. In blind taste tests, Chicken Joy repeatedly outperforms competitors with 10 times the marketing budget. The gravy is rich and slightly sweet. The chicken is deeply marinated before breading. The flavor profile is unlike anything else in American fast food because it was not engineered by an American fast food spreadsheet. There is a lesson buried in that win. Decades of American marketing budgets, celebrity endorsements, and nostalgia campaigns lost a blind taste test to a chain that simply marinated its chicken properly and was honest about its process. Taste, transparency, and consistency turned out to beat advertising spend every time someone actually tried both side by side. Jollibee lands at number 1 because taste, transparency, and consistency all point in the same direction. And that combination is rarer than it should be. 8 chains that bet you would never look past the marketing. 4 that proved you do not have to choose between affordable fried chicken and basic standards. The difference between the two groups was never secret information buried in a locked filing cabinet somewhere. It was sitting in public health department records the entire time, waiting for someone to actually read them. I pulled state health department records, federal lawsuits, USDA antibiotic reports, and thousands of customer reviews to find out which fried chicken chains actually deserve your money and which ones are running on marketing budgets alone. Now you know. Click the next video on your screen right now. We investigate these stories every week, digging through inspection records and court filings most people never bother to read, and they only get more revealing from here.